this month. But this is a great gesture, I think, knitting together history, the past and the present with Southampton Football Club, and congratulations to all involved. Whether the shirts will do the trick, we'll see. It's the men in it that's going to matter. And straight away, Baumann getting into the game, and a mini dribble, joined by Ben White and Gabriel Jesus, who gets the game tonight. Odegaard will be delighted to be back in action. Mosquera for Saliba is on the bench. He's had a bit of an ankle problem. There's been medical bulletin after medical bulletin coming out of the Arsenal training ground over the last week or so. Odegaard trying to disguise that pass through. Southampton be happy to play on the counter-attack. And it needed a strong piece of work from Gabriel, who was the scorer of the winning goal for Southampton in that FA Cup game 5 years ago. 1-0 Gabriel own goal. He's one of the few survivors from that. And Southampton do the trick again. Nathan Wood. Ryan Manning picked out by Stuart early on, a buccaneering left-back. Plenty of international experience and an eye for goal. They've certainly got counter-attacking prowess, Southampton, if that's the way the game's going to shape up.
There's Fellows down that right-hand side. He didn't quite make the most of it in the 1v1. It's Gabriel. Quite sure about Gabriel's response for this challenge.
Emotions a bit near the surface, you would think, for so early in the game.
That's one of the criticisms of Arsenal over recent weeks. Are they too emotional?
It's been a good week for Mosquera, a couple of caps for Spain for the first time. Odegaard. Baumann. Just thinking about using his right foot, but hesitated, lost the ball. Here's Norgard, who suffered disappointment with Denmark, not going to the World Cup. And there's a break on here, led by Cienza, who's got a real eye for goal himself, and he's still going. There's contact there, or is there? There's not. Referee Barrett says no penalty. Was very well placed to judge.
I wonder if Arsenal have got away with one there.
Well, we do have VAR, of course. James Bell is the man. Cienza really checked in to get his shot away. What do you think?
Well, he does leave his leg there. Gabriel. Looks like his knee catches the knee of Fellows. Certainly didn't get the ball. But I'm not sure it's going to be overturned. It's not a clear and obvious error. Twice that Arsenal have been caught on the counter-attack, and twice Gabriel's had to come across into wide areas and try and defend it, or wider areas and try and defend it.
Well, that time it was Brazilian on Brazilian. Cienza's a key player for that kind of incident. That's his game in a nutshell, really.
Trying to chop it back onto his right foot. He was just about to get his shot away.
Here's Mosquera. Baumann. Impressed at Mansfield in the last round. Not in any way undermining the quality of the Mansfield players. As Stuart gives chase here, and Gabriel's called into action again. But the pitch was very demanding for those who are used to Premier League surfaces, and Baumann coped with that as if he came in from playing on the park in a school game. Here's Cienza. Infield again, but with the pass that time.
It's been a good opening to the game, hasn't it? Arsenal had a bit of possession, but looks like they might be caught on the counter-attack.
This is the third of the 4 quarter-finals. One tomorrow. Your old club, West Ham. Well, this is one of your old clubs here, of course, your first club, Arsenal. This time against Leeds. The London Stadium tomorrow. Odegaard getting a bit behind the midfield of Southampton, trying to lay it in for the run of Gabriel Jesus.
He's playing in his usual position in central midfield, but slightly to the right-hand side. He's had that great understanding with Saka. Tonight he's going to have to get one with Dowman.
Daniel Peretz is the Southampton goalkeeper, national keeper with Israel. It's on by Stewart. Mascara's there. And David Raya, who wouldn't have played for 3 weeks had he not got an hour or so with Spain on Tuesday. So any thoughts that maybe he would play today to get him ready for the Champions League game weren't perhaps required. But here's Dowman again threatening and trying to just use that left foot to steer it to Peretz's right.
Well, Ryan Manning thought he could win the ball and he didn't. Norman had space to run into. Opened up nicely for him as well, just didn't get any power in the shot.
Lewis Skelly, who got himself into the Arsenal team and then into the England team, and has rather, until today anyway, lost a regular place with the club and with country, including in a big World Cup squad announced by Thomas Tuchel for the last 2 internationals. And here's the Scot, Stewart. Bragg. Encouraged to shoot, but was only thinking of passing. And Arsenal can break. With Dowman, we've seen plenty of the ball early on. Norgard. Jesus drifting left. Martinelli's in the middle. He's been a real star of Arsenal in cup competitions this season. Only scored 1 Premier League goal. He has a FA Cup hat-trick to his name. Carried forward by Azaz. Now Fellows onto his good left foot. Backed up by the right back Bree. There's Bragg. Possession for Southampton.
You have to ask at times where Arsenal's fullbacks, because it's Gabriel that has to come out and make the challenge again.
Made across by Kasper Jander, the German midfield player, responding to German management. Here's Wood, here is Jander. See what he was trying to do, to just reverse that into the run of Azaz. Odegaard going longer this time to the threat that is Gabriel Martinelli. Winding up for the shot.
Absolutely right, there is the threat. Martinelli just comes short, then spins in behind. He's got great pace. He's looking to come back on his right foot here against Bree. Bree does well.
Well, earlier in the competition, Martinelli was cheered by the Arsenal fans, but he scored a hat-trick against Portsmouth, Southampton's great rivals.
Set play.
Which is something that Thunder Eckert was asked about in the press conference yesterday. How are you going to deal with Arsenal's serious ability at set pieces? All he said was, any coach would say, well, we've been working on it, we'll do our best. And this is what they've been working on, looking at the man rather than the ball, maybe. Well, it's a variation on a theme here. And it's got Ben White into a good position. Oh, and that was a shot by Martinelli that might have been net bound. Howard Bellis got in the way.
I think you're absolutely right. That was heading for the top corner. And the angle we're looking at. That would have beaten the goalkeeper. Howard Bellis very pleased with himself.
Emirates very pleased with him. And you mentioned one cap, one goal as well in that game against the Republic of Ireland. To another Arsenal corner. And their modus operandi to be put into practice. He's heading back across by Norgard, who was very good when he was with Brentford, his previous club, at scoring from set pieces. What Tonder Eckert did mention, he said, I've spotted that Arsenal have changed the signals on their set pieces. Well, you can bet once he said that, Tonder, they've changed them again.
I never understand players not looking at the ball when you're trying to pick up.
Give height on it again from Martinelli, again round the back, it works. And we're getting the first contact. Gabriel Jesus just knocked it down into the ground and then into the gloves of the Southampton keeper. Their birthday yesterday, the Brazilian number 9 for the Gunners, 29. That's a high caliber opponent, but when you're 14 games unbeaten, Stuart, you've got something about you as a team.
When you're playing cup football, and you're a Premier League team, you prefer to play a team at the bottom of the Premier League than a team at the top of the Championship. The team at the top of the Championship are playing with confidence, they have belief, the crowd are right behind them.
And now they're playing a team at the top of the Premier League. Yeah, but how much, you know, changes have happened. There are other priorities. Some players, of course, are genuinely injured. There's a lot of suspicion about those withdrawals, but the absentees today, perhaps we'll know more when the lineup comes out against Sporting in Lisbon on Tuesday.
It's something I don't quite understand. You have to pick your best team to win the game that's in front of you. You can't worry about games that are coming up.
I think it's fair to say Southampton have done that, not worrying about Wrexham. Eyeing a Wembley semi-final. Norgard, who's never really established himself in this his first season as an Arsenal player. Dowman. Bragg to loop it away. And, played stronger, longer by Yander. And he's a real willing runner, Ross Stewart. When fit, he's had a terrible time since his move here from Sunderland with injuries. And coming in is Azaza, not picked up. And Stuart, you're right, it's just the fullbacks. Arsenal at the back are looking extraordinarily open.
So I was surprised that Stewart beat Gabriel for pace out on that far side. And when the ball came in the box, out of shape. Havertz thought he was badly fouled here. Is the player that makes the challenge. He jumps into it, but he does win the ball. Does he get a bit of Havertz as well? Maybe so. Here's the chance. Poor control in the end. I think he was thinking about White more than get into the space. Azaz. Full of confidence, you think, at the moment.
It's captain and captain. We're going to see more of this, of course. It's quite a good idea. We'll see how it pans out in the heat of battles, but it does give the referee a point of focus and those who judge the behaviour of players. Surrounding the referee is still one of the most unsightly things in football. It doesn't give the game a good name at all.
There's a misunderstanding there between Norgard and Ødegaard. This is what the Southampton fans didn't like last season when they were trying to play it from the back. Not doing it particularly well.
Leander. It is only to Lewis Skelly. And Martinelli has a look at the left back, and there are plenty in red in the middle. Howard Bellis gets it away. They're missing Jack Stevens, incidentally, their usual skipper, who has trained this week but still not quite fit to return with an ankle problem. Good pressure by Manning in the first place. Cienza trying to slide it across. Stewart was arriving.
Another poor bit of defending that time by White. Got away with it because the pass wasn't good. Norgard made a good interception.
It's a very open game. Openness reflected here. It's a good challenge for a corner. Kai Havertz. It's just a difficult player to pick up sometimes in terms of marking.
Might make the most of it. He just stepped across the challenge there. Fellows, he would have won himself a penalty.
Jovert, the set-piece coach, was responsible for signals as well as the delivery. But they've gone deep, and Southampton haven't really dealt with it, and Arsenal haven't made the most of a possible header back across the face of goal. What's Martinelli going to come up with here? Well, they had a short one on the other flank, and now it's short from the left with Lewis Skelly. No one closing him down. And now Dowman wanted to get it on his left foot. Swing at it by Gabriel. He might have another crack here. Now he's thought better of it. Back for Dowman. Plenty back for Southampton. Lewis Skelly. Goalkeeper just covering it, really.
He's not happy, is he, Jesus? The players weren't coming round the back. He thought he played it into a good area. He's not shooting, he's just playing it for players to attack it. And 2 players at the far post didn't attack it.
There's plenty of chat going on behind him. Mikel Arteta from his coaching staff. It's been remarkable. Right, well, there's that. Cienza's in the clear here. Mosquera trying to get back. Still Cienza, still going. Mosquera, though, heads him off at the pass. And Arsenal breathe again, but what a situation they got themselves in. Arsenal defensively and Southampton attackingly.
Now, once Gabriel was going to go for the ball, Mosquera has to back off. It's poor play from Gabriel, but it's also poor play from Mosquera. Cienza doesn't make the most of it. He's got to be looking to shoot. He just overruns it, hasn't quite got the pace, and Mosquera gets back. They've got away with it, Arsenal, there. It's just basic poor defending. One centre-half goes to win the ball, the other one drops off.
The sort of thing he would criticise if you saw it in a park game, to be honest. Here's Mosquera. Ben White, who his last 3 games before today have all been at Wembley, League Cup final, and twice for England. He scored for England, actually. It's quite a controversial choice, a bit of a controversial challenge by Norgard.
Maybe reliving that over and over again, I think. Cienza, the chance he's just had.
And the penalty incident that he was involved in as well.
It's unfortunate from Norgard. The ball was up in the air, made the challenge.
No complaints from the Southampton dugout. Seems a very calm customer. He handled a much bigger media conference than he's used to, I guess. Probably the biggest of his fledgling managerial career. Played in England before. Coached in England before with Barnsley.
What Mosquera does well is not to foul, because if he fouls, he'd have been sent off there. Even if he'd have just clipped his heels as they were running together, in a red card, and Arsenal would have been in trouble.
Southampton on the fringes of the playoff places for a chance to return to the Premier League. They did go up before that relegation season that you referred to a couple of times via a Wembley win, beat Leeds United.
I saw a lot of them that season, and they played some outstanding football. We're coming here to watch them against Blackburn.
Mosquera did well there, because Stewart has got the legs. A little bit more than Cienza, I think. If it had been Stewart in that position of breakaway, Arsenal might not have got that reprieve.
Skelly goes into central midfield at times. As Gabriel goes wider, Mosquera becomes the middle centre-half. White's on the right side of a back three as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, we've seen it before, haven't we? Pep Guardiola and at Chelsea have done it as well. Here's a Dowman just running out of room. All sorts of special issues. Sorry, Stu, it's down to you here.
He's got the ability, just overhits it on that last touch, but he's got his work cut out in the battle against him.
I was just going to mention the fact that as a 16-year-old, safeguarding in mind, he has to change in a separate changing room to the rest of the players. I guess he's well used to doing that now as tots up his first team appearances. Just about took him. Enough on the wrist there, Perez, to get away with it.
That's when they cause themselves problems, when Southampton are trying to play it from the back. As we've seen so many times, goalkeepers take a little bit too long on the ball. They take a little time to make a decision. It looks a little bit ugly for the goalkeeper on that occasion.
Scully, as you pointed out, is in midfield again, but of course he is a midfield player as he came through the ranks. Martinelli trying to come through the Southampton rear guard and the home team cope. Mosquera. Quite happy to drop off and get numbers behind the ball. They have shown 3 or 4 occasions the speed to certainly spring forward, not with great numbers, but with great pace. Dowman is seeing plenty of it as an Arsenal outlet on the right-hand side. And towards Norgard, trying to turn away from Bragg. Manning clips it away. Retrieved not very far away by Manning, and back. Pressure on Southampton again through the Arsenal skipper. Now Ben White able to size up the situation. He got into positions like that with England in his games at Wembley and didn't really make the most of those opportunities either.
It's way too long to get the cross in. He's claiming a handball here. His arm was up, Cienza, but I don't think you can give a penalty for that. It's not quite tucked in as much as he's suggesting there. That's the man that's had the biggest chance in the game.
One thing that Coach Eckhart was saying, we don't want to be giving away too many set pieces. That's one way to stop Arsenal scoring from them. But the threat is looming large again. And again, they decide not to play it in straight away. They're 4 against 3 here. Dowman. Now Martinelli. Odegaard. Havertz. Odegaard again. Havertz for Dowman. See a way for a successful shot. Martinelli the same. Dowman again. Still going. Odegaard. Defending by numbers. The Saints. Arsenal with some sustained pressure here. It's coming up to the 25-minute mark. White. Goes ahead of Dowman and stayed onside. Havertz. Neatly done. Odegaard wants it set up. He's going to have a crack. And it got through the crowd, but not past the goalkeeper. Back with Dowman. Just too high for Havertz, who's a real danger in there, of course, with his aerial ability. He repositions. Coming back in his direction again, beyond him to Gabriel. Bragg gets it away, but not far enough.
Good spell for Arsenal, looking threatening here. Difficult for Southampton to get hold of the ball.
Yeah, Stewart's dropped back into midfield. Good work by Martinelli. Odegaard! Well, he scuffed it. And sometimes they go in. But that one didn't.
Big chance. Odegaard, well worked down the left-hand side. Martinelli goes to the line, there's the cutback. He's got a lot of time, he kicks it from one foot onto the other. That's the problem, just there. Kicks it from his left boot onto his right ankle.
Oh, he would have expected better. Bit of rustiness maybe, a month out. Nicely worked.
This was the shot earlier from Odegaard, which he did strike nicely. Decent save from Perez.
Southampton have made reasonable use of that limited amount of possession that they've had, and that's a bit of a wild one from Ryan Manning, and he gets a yellow card.
He couldn't win the ball there. Baumann just started running infield. Manning decided to go with him, and the touch was a big one, so it just got out of his reach. Quite rightly gets the yellow card, Manning. They're under pressure for the rest of the game now, I would suggest.
Yeah, especially against Max Baumann, who, of course, is a very young man, but he's playing a man's game, and those who pick him to play for Arsenal in these kind of fixtures know that those kind of challenges are coming. He's got to learn to deal with them, and he's dealt with that one well enough. He's up on his feet. He's got his man booked to some extent, and he's going to lead the free kick to Odegaard, who gives it straight to Baumann. It's a teasing ball, it just favoured the goalkeeper, and the curve at the end of it.
Straight away you saw Manning not really going tight, didn't want to make the challenge. It's too easy for Arsenal to get the ball out to Baumann. Here again, so much space for him just to roll it to him.
Well, Cienza isn't really helping much defensively, is he? And that's a double ricochet, and I think the decision is a goal kick. In the World Cup we're going to have these things checked, of course, Stuart, aren't we, with the VAR. The Premier League hasn't adopted that. Yeah, it goes back off down.
Yep, good decision.
A bit of space for Havertz in an area where Southampton wouldn't really want to be that far away from him. He's been involved in FA Cup finals with Chelsea. It's nicely worked. Baumann goes for power. And the right foot's got plenty of it as well.
Yeah, I think he's right to go for goal. Cross wasn't on. He's given the space on his right foot. Nonchalant from the goalkeeper. Stands there and just pushes it away. But Arsenal are threatening here.
And he's right at the centre of that threat.
I watch one of the world's greatest talents every week in Yamal at Barcelona. He got into the team when he was just 15. He's tearing things up in La Liga, and obviously a European Championship winner with Spain. Came down and the same sort of things for Arsenal.
Can they go short? And to maybe work an overload or get the marking disjointed in the middle. It's Havertz. Odegaard. Thought about shooting. And then asked a bit too much of Gabi Jesus.
What I would suggest for Perez is that he tells his team to get out, he goes to kick the ball that little bit longer up the pitch, and they get people around the knockdown. He hasn't done that. This is where they've struggled, because when they play the next pass forward, haven't Haven't got enough players around the ball. Can't keep it.
The goalkeeper's involved again. You can sense the anxiety from the Southampton supporters. And the kick isn't long enough. Mosquera steps in.
Because they've been trying to play out from that, they haven't got enough players in the forward areas to win the knockdowns.
It's a good spell this for Arsenal. Can they crown it with a goal? Stayed in play. Odegaard and Dowman very much at the heart of how they're trying to unlock the Saints. And that's deflected from Havertz. They are getting bodies in the way of shots. It was Wood that time.
He just got enough on it, didn't it? Made it difficult, very difficult for the goalkeeper. He died once the ball was past him.
That's who has a deserved reputation for getting goals in big games. Maybe, of course, a Champions League winner. Sustained pressure on Southampton here. Just past the half-hour mark. Lewis Skelly. And it's towards Norgard, who was pushing. Just got himself in a position where he was going to be under the ball, and if he'd been a yard further back, he'd been able to attack it.
I think Southampton were very pleased when they heard the whistle go there. Just going to take their time here with this kick. Again, I'm looking to go that little bit long, get players around the knockdowns and try and play from there.
That in a quarter-final in 1979. Arsenal needed a replay, as we had replays in those days, for most of the history of this competition, of course. And Arsenal went on to win the FA Cup famously. Very exciting final against Manchester United, who, of course, were the losing club when Southampton won it 3 years earlier. Azaz is trying to check back, and White played Kepa into a spot of bother then.
Well, that could have been very dangerous. If the Southampton player just gets there first, nicks the ball away, Kepa kicks through him, and he's been in big trouble.
Bragg is in for Flynn Downs, the FA Cup suspension.
End up going back to the goalkeeper. Decision to play it forward.
White saw it coming. Suddenly, the ball forward has led to anyone having to rush back to defend. They are backing the pace of Stewart. And they are isolating Arsenal defenders. They were doing that a lot in the first 15 minutes, but this is a breakout from a lot of defending. Cienza crosses. Fellows trying to turn Lewis Skelly. He's worked it well. Gabriel's header, though, might get the elevation needed on the cross, Tom Fellows.
If they do get it into those areas, there's always the danger of tangling feet. Penalty, Arsenal. You have to get the ball into the front areas enough and quickly enough as to cause problems. They did it on that occasion, Southampton. That's a little bit slow to react to the ball.
Manning. Back by Yanda. Stepping in, it breaks Arsenal's way. Havertz's way. Dowman, infield this time. Odegaard telling him to go on the outside. And then initially used him as a decoy, and then gave him the ball when he wasn't ready for it. A bit over-elaborate from the Arsenal captain. Run out by Cienza, and now Bree. Stewart. Oh, it's misjudged by White. He knows the cost of that. He looks back in horror, and Stewart turns away in celebration. And Arsenal, who've looked individually culpable defensively right from the off, are a goal down here at St Mary's.
Well, the judgment of Arsenal centre-backs and the right-back on this occasion, of balls that have been played in the air, has been really poor. Southampton haven't had that much of the ball, but they've created 2 or 3 opportunities, and Ben White has to deal with this. It wasn't a great ball played out to Stewart. Somehow he got himself underneath it, misjudged it completely. It all started with the back heel from Ødegaard at one end. Look how easy it is for Cienza to run with the ball. The recovery runs of Arsenal midfield players isn't particularly good.
But good numbers forward.
And when the ball's played, it's under hit. Ben White thinks he can win it, and he should win it. Good first touch. He's got the composure and the technique on this occasion, just to hit it with the laces past the goalkeeper. And just what Southampton and their fans wanted.
Well, a shot on target, a shot from the Saints, and a shock for Arsenal. And Ben White knew it was a goal before it hit the back of the net.
He did what a lot of defenders do when they make a mistake. He actually stood still and watched it.
Well, Stewart got the penalty that beat Fulham up in London in the last round, and here against the leading light of London football at the moment, he's put them in front. And Ben White's going chasing the ball to try and redeem. There's been some not exactly desperate, from dogged defending from Southampton, and then some very desperate defending there by Ben White. No defending.
He just stopped.
Stewart didn't stop, and there was no stopping the shot. No blame attached to Kepa this time. And here's Cienza. And Southampton have got their tails up.
Ben White's got to be careful. He's going to run in with the referee. Had a little go at him a couple of moments ago. It's a foul, no question about it. It's not a bad foul, but it's a foul.
When he played for England, he did score, but he gave away a penalty against Uruguay very late in the game. Been quite a mixed couple of weeks for him. He wasn't the favourite of the England supporters at Wembley, because his history shows that he walked out on England's World Cup squad in Qatar in 2022.
It's Bree, the right back, so it's going to be a right-footed in-swinger, you would imagine. And in telling him exactly where to play it, with a bit of pace towards the far post. Everybody misses it, it just creeps in.
They're looking for a double whammy here. The Championship side. Taken by Bree, not quite deep enough. Came out to Bragg. Leander is clipping it back in again, and again there was no marking. Marlon Bellis, who is a threat in the opposing box.
You know what? Dowman's taken up a really poor position. His first thought is he's got to be tucked in alongside the centre halves. Can't just look up the field and say, well, I'm not a defender, so I'm not worrying about that.
He was onside too.
He just didn't judge the flight, did he, in the end? Marlon Bellis. That's for a good cup tie. Arsenal dominating the play, creating lots of opportunities.
It's a push by Ødegaard. And so far in the other quarter-final, Stewart, the away team hasn't scored. Arsenal can't afford to make that 3 in a row.
Maybe a little bit lucky from Leander there to win the free kick.
Stewart again. It's another tentative clearance from Kepa, and it's a terrible swing at the ball by Havertz. And the goalkeeper's back. Zaz perhaps wasn't quite aware of that. He thought the chip was on. It was a bright idea, but just a second or two too late. Forward by Norgard, but not with any great purpose. They rattled Arsenal. Azaz screened it well enough, produced the foul, but made sure Southampton kept the ball. Yellows, yellows is the cry of these shirts. 1976 replica shirts, that most famous day in Southampton's FA Cup history. They wore them in the third round when they won 3-2 at Doncaster Rovers. They wore them here when they beat Leicester City after extra time in round 4, and they wore them at Craven Cottage when Ross Stewart rammed in that penalty to set up this quarter-final tie.
Nothing wrong with playing that ball. Look, it's one long ball played forward, and Arsenal again don't deal with it perfectly. Mosquera in the end gets his head on it, but Southampton have got a throw in halfway inside Arsenal's half.
Stewart does what a lot of forwards don't do up front these days, because there's only one of them. He'll run the right channel, he'll run the left channel, taking on all the work.
He's also being helped by Azaz, who's playing further forward than I thought he might do. At times he's playing up front with him, not at the moment.
Manning to Cienza. Stewart played a couple of times for Scotland. He's not been in the frame, really. He's been injured for so long. If he carries on like this, he might get a late call from Steve Clarke. His fellows. Goes again. Stopped by Gabriel, I think it was, sticking out a leg. Gabriel Jesus back defending. Azaz goes in. Fellows can't quite claim it.
I think there might have been a handball in amongst all that from one of the Southampton players. That's where Southampton want to play the game.
Right. Now Daman. Odegaard. Bobbing and weaving, as they say. Always on the edge of the penalty area, rather than getting into the heart of the matter, where most goals are scored from. Closer in. As Stewart's just proved. Mosquera. Daman. Movement to suggest the pass was on. He might be, even at 16, he might be asking a question of one or two more experienced players. Where was the support? White. Goalkeeper's coming for it and claiming it.
There again, lacking ideas, Ben White, when it comes to him. Took a little bit too long, crossed it straight into the left back. Here's where it might have been a handball. Both players, actually, it came off on Skelly.
Kemper was a bit nervous coming out just now. Does at least make better contact. He's been involved in 3 FA Cup finals with Chelsea and lose all the time. There's David Raya, who did play for Spain earlier in the week and will surely play against Sporting in Lisbon on Tuesday.
Arsenal have such a good defensive record over the last couple of years. It's surprising that they look so fragile today.
Individually, yes, but also as a team, they haven't covered each other, tucked in. The sitting ducks for the Southampton attackers when they've been able to get the ball, which hasn't been that often. Otherwise, we'd be looking at an even more increased scoreline for the Championship team, you feel. Skelly preferred to Calafiori, who is on the bench, and probably with Tuesday in mind if Papier is out. He came back from playing with Ecuador with an injury.
I might suggest that Skelly is coming infield a lot. He's playing at left back at the moment, high up the field, but he's not really affecting the game in central midfield. So go back to left back and make yourself more solid. A better structure to your defence.
Norgard. One added minute we're hearing at the end of the 45, so not too long for Southampton to protect their lead, but it only takes a second to score a goal, as the football cliches book will tell you.
The book written by you, was it?
No, that quote was attributed to a much greater man, Brian Clough. He scored a lot of goals, by the way. And, Arsenal might score one here, still in this last few seconds of added time. Dowman is trying to make space for a cross. And the shot comes in from Norgard, again from the edge of the area. And luckily for Peretz, he was able to have a clear view of it. Sometimes the defender might stick out a knee here, and the ball's in the back of the net.
He goes with the inside of his right foot. It's a decent effort.
Back by Gabriel.
You can sense the crowd feel as though when the ball's played forward and it bounces, Stewart's got a chance of beating the two centre-halves to it. Gabriel did well on that occasion.
Scott Barrett about to blow for half-time, you feel? He does. Well, Arsenal have lost only 4 games all season. And of course, Southampton are on a 14-game unbeaten run. Big crowd, the vast majority hoping that Southampton can sustain this or even improve it. Remember the one time, and it was only 5 years ago under the regime of Mikel Arteta, that Southampton have knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup. That was a 1-0 success, an own goal from Gabriel, who's had his difficulties here, could have given away a penalty. Was another not that long ago tie when Arsenal came here and won 5-0 in the FA Cup. 3 goals from Theo Walcott, who of course was a Southampton product. The other 2 from a certain Danny Welbeck, who's in the news these days, just along the coast from here with Brighton, and making, talk about Max Dowman making a run as a 16-year-old to a World Cup place. Danny Welbeck at the other end of his career at 35. Not out of contention. He's got a lot of backing in the media, that's for sure. And here is Dowman. Got to find a way to negotiate the mass defending, the mass ranks of the team in the yellow shirts in their own penalty area. Shots from distance haven't done the trick. Haven't quite been intricate enough. The crosses haven't been really favouring the likes of Havertz.
Yeah, that's probably been the biggest disappointment from Arsenal's point of view in terms of their attacking play. The crosses haven't quite been good enough. Something they're usually good at doing.
And the corners, only a very small percentage of them have gone in to use that aerial strength. Both the short corner on both sides as the go-to weapon for today.
As I mentioned it once in the first half, they're trying to create a 4 versus 3 in the wide area and work the ball to the edge of the box.
Very limited space to make that happen, and anyway, they've got problems to solve, and club of their capability and the record this season, as Stuart suggests, the more likely outcome is a comeback and recovery here. We'll see. Bragg making Wood scurry a little bit. Here's Manning, who incidentally will miss the semi-final should Southampton get there, because of the yellow card he picked up.
I think he'd be more worried about getting a second yellow card in this second half. It's the biggest problem for him. And Southampton down to 10 men.
Gets it away from Dowman. Cienza with a sharp turn. And he is the latest problem for Ben White.
They're asking for a yellow card. Lovely little turn. Ben White a bit slow to turn. Has a couple of grabs his shoulder, then grabs his shirt. Probably should have been a yellow card.
Cienza's just had 2 or 3 big moments in the match, but they've been worth waiting for to some extent.
You can see he's got quality, can't you? A bit of time to get involved in the game in a good way, but it's a nice little turn. He's burst the pace, got him away from White. He's looking very vulnerable at the moment.
The centre-backs are well forward, the tall Stewart in there as well. Towards Harwood Bellis. Sien's decides to let it run. Quick throws on here. As Manning came forward, Dowman having to track him, and did. Gabriel Jesus, all a bit tight in there for Arsenal, but they've got the composure on the ball to play their way forward. Odegaard. Skelly clipped by Fellows.
Just for a moment there, he thought he could win the ball, Fellows. Good position for Arsenal to swing this one in. Don't see too much of Fellows in an attacking sense.
Came from West Bromwich Albion for around £8 million as they sort of rebuilt their squad after relegation. Martinelli over the free kick. Leaves it for Odegaard, taking the low road. I'm not sure that was deliberate or not. It could only be sort of need on.
Jesus just
headed on, yeah.
Flicking it into what he thought was being a good area, but nobody coming round the back.
Expression didn't change much when they went in front. A statuesque figure compared to Arteta in the other dugout. Martinelli. Norgard. Extra man in midfield is Lewis Skelly again. Norgard. Giving Southampton plenty of time to get into their defensive shape. This is where Manning has to be careful. And Dowman knows that. And again, certainly not up to his normal high standards, and he's not the only one who's bothered at the back for Arsenal. James Ree came from Luton, where he really established himself. He did play in the Premier League. Lewis Skelly. Nibble at him by Cienza, but rode that easy enough. Jesus. Martinelli. Certainly got the firepower out there, although it is a, if you like, slightly understrength Arsenal team. Come to Dowman. It's a very fine block. Dowman kept the shot low. Manning was able to throw himself in the line of the effort at goal.
Yeah, good play from Martinelli. Manning had to go narrow to try and deal with Odegaard, which meant when it did go out to Dowman, he had a bit of time to get his shot away, but good defending by the left back.
Free transfer from Swansea. So we get another Arsenal corner. This suggests it is going into the area at the back for Gabriel and company. The ball just has to over that quadrant. And it is at fine margins. Players do use it as much as they can. Martinelli's taking a bit too much of a liberty. Eventually, as Arsenal look for an equaliser here. We're 8 minutes into the second half. Again, plenty of height on it. Goalkeeper reached it. Back to the corner taker himself. Need to get round the outside of Fellows. He's done that. cover in the nick of time. It's given away by Azaz. Nice play by Louis Skelly. Arsenal desperate to impose their greater qualities, their higher class, but not like that.
Well, Martinelli's got the beating of Fellows in the 1v1. Fellows gets a little bit too square at times, or front on to Martinelli, so as soon as Martinelli whips it down the side of him, he just can't get back. Different sort of player, Martinelli, to what we're seeing from Dowman down the other side.
As well as that hat-trick against Portsmouth, he also scored in the 4-0 win in round 4 against Wigan. Cienza. Yanda. Rag having to scamper a little bit. Now with Bellis. Now Fellows. There's been too many spells when Southampton have been able to play a little bit of possession football. With a kind of breathing space.
This is when I think they're at their most vulnerable, though, Southampton, if they get the ball away in a cheap area. They're out of shape, like here.
Brad gets a good foot in, fair enough, and Cienza's on his way again. So to Fellows are coming from the right-hand side. So go through to Perez. He's actually on loan here from Bayern Munich. It's a massive reshuffle. There's a lot of problems, change of management after Russell Martin had got them promoted, but couldn't provide the, I suppose, the rougher edges to the play to grind out a few results.
He had one style of play, and when it wasn't working in the Premier League, carried on playing it, perhaps to the annoyance of the fans. Fantastic job at Rangers either when he went there, in terms of the style of play and what the crowd expected in terms of results. Done a brilliant job in taking Southampton up.
Louis Skelly in midfield again, but just dithering a bit on the ball. His eye off it, and Southampton counter-attacking. They were outnumbered, Arsenal here. Fellows trying to get across, aware of that, I think. A break, and Arsenal on the back foot.
Skelly's under poor time of late. He started at the end of last season in the Champions League game against PSG. He's never really recovered from it. So easily dispossessed on that occasion, going into that central midfield position.
I just wonder, with the way Arsenal have been just off their A game individually as defenders, what problems a Southampton corner can cause here. It wouldn't be a big surprise if someone got free whenever it does come into the box. Cienza does deliver.
Gabriel at the near post defended it well enough. Exactly where the ball was going to be played, anticipated, got his head on it.
No hurry. Ryan Manning as Victor Gyökeres, much needed in attack. Manu Madueke is coming on as well as Calafiori. Presumably will go into left back. Louis Skelly's minutes might be numbered now. Southampton looking for a second, and Stewart might have got it. Mosquera got in front of him.
Good defending, Mosquera had to get there. You see that Stewart's working him. Trying to get back across him. Good defending, Mosquera.
That's when ball watching works. He got there before the man. And Manning used his qualities on this side now. Stewart poised to pounce. Keeper delivered that mistake at Wembley just a couple of weeks ago. He just let the ball slip through his hands. If he Makes a mistake now, they could be out of the cup. And back forward by Yanda. And now Balaga wants to set up a counter-attack for his team. Odegaard of the same mind. Havertz. Trio of Arsenal substitutes waiting to come on.
That's where I think Havertz has got to do a lot better. When the ball comes to him, he's got to open up his body and get himself turned. By running with it 10 yards back, everything has slowed down. Started off with a quick throw from Kepa. Arsenal ended up going into their back four. And Southampton have got everybody back behind the ball.
Made another mistake. And here's Fellows. Well, they get away with that, Mosquera. Goes 2-0, and there's a lot of chasing to be done for the Premier League leaders.
This is for a pass. Mosquera trying to play it across, gets it all wrong. There's an overlapping run here. Could he have... I think he did the right thing. He bought himself some time. He's just got to keep it down. It's underneath it.
The changes. Gabriel Jesus will give way to Gyökeres. Lewis Skelly will give way to Calafiori. And as Calafiori comes on, you see Odegaard going off as well. It was the comeback game, no surprise in that. They give him an hour. That'll probably happen whatever the scoreline was. And Madueke, who only lasted the first half against Uruguay in the first England friendly, was really involved in a tackle. It was an impact injury, so maybe not the greatest surprise that here we are just over a week later and he's playing again. Needed again. Gyökeres, of course, in great spirits after that hat-trick and helping Sweden through the hat-trick against Ukraine. Another goal in the final to get them into the World Cup finals. He's bringing a lot of feel-good into his game, and Arsenal need all that and more. Cienza, helped by Yanda, who's there again if required, might be running into his space. Cienza off the top of the bar. Super effort, fine margins, still 1-0.
Well, when he actually first picked up the ball, all the Arsenal players were suggesting he was offside, but you can see Calafiori, he's that little bit deeper. Still sticking his arm up in the air. Ben White is pointing at other players to get round on the cover, but doesn't do his job properly. Never looks like getting tight, and it's a really good effort. Cienza showing his quality in the second half.
It's a proper cup tie. The first two have been very one-sided quarter-finals earlier in the day. Cienza's been winning his battles, as you can see. Back in the team, been out for a couple of weeks. Baumann. Great strength for a 16-year-old. Look at that. He's a little better stuck out of foot. Martinelli!
Also been a handball by Martinelli as it came out to him. Again, Baumann doing well down that right-hand side. I think he might be playing a little bit more centrally. Madueke might go out to the right. Baumann might take himself into the number 10 position. Still no sign of a goal for Arsenal. 62 minutes into the game.
Because it has to be decided this evening. Extra time and then, if required, penalties are on the agenda. Daniel Perez stretching the patience of the referee a little bit with the time he took. The lethargic from Havertz. Finazaz, now Fellows, Bragg.
Dalman has gone into the number 10 and Havertz is playing that little bit deeper alongside Nurgaard.
Madueke, as you said, out on the right, which is his best position. He does like to get into the penalty area. He's got the kind of driving runs that might just open up Southampton, particularly with Ryan Manning in that part of the pitch, having to do the defending, carrying a yellow card. Trying to get it forward. Zaz thought he was taken down a foot in by Yanda. Now here's Madueke. Manning's got upfield, so it's Wood who's gone across. Madueke trying to make the difference. He's gone to ground. Fields from Arsenal.
Wood looks fairly confident. Yeah, there was no foul there. Madueke's certainly got pace.
Because he had Dowman at his disposal to play that position, which is his. Going to play Dowman, really. You've got to give him the best chance from the start in his defined position. But of course, he's got the capacities we're about to see, I think, to play elsewhere. But Madueke can accelerate, show real Premier League pace. Southampton haven't had to deal with in their season. And here is Fellows. Stewart. And to curl it in to where Azaz was arriving. Now Cienza. Got there, but Cienza gets it back. Bragg. There will be some bragging if Southampton do win this. There's a long way to go. Only 20 minutes into the second half. Yellows, yellows is the cry. This yellow kit, it's been a symbol of this cup run, 50 years on. Bobby Stokes winner at Wembley against Manchester United. There's a mistake by Harwood Bellis. The gifted Arsenal way back into the tie. Dowman, though, makes the wrong decision. Seems harsh to say that, but he did. And then there's a foul by White. Not had a vintage afternoon.
It certainly hasn't. But
evening even.
Harwood Bellis made a big error there. That's where I think Southampton can cause themselves problems. They like to play out from the back. I don't think they're particularly good at doing so at times. Lance Dowman did make the wrong decision.
Being set. Left of Arteta as we look. That's Stuyvenberg. So putting in his two Penneth. Bragg. Madueke intercepts. Dowman. It's extraordinary strength in those situations for one so young. Here's Madueke. This might be the combination to get Arsenal back into it. Southampton thinking about making changes. Gabriel. We're 3/4 of the way through the 90 minutes, and it's Havertz played through and put in by Gyökeres. Instant impact. They're level. So a rethink on the bench. That feel-good factor extends from Sweden into an FA Cup quarter-final for Victor Gyökeres.
Well, a lot of credit has to also go to the run of Havertz. It's a decent pass to him as well. Looks a little bit too easy, just runs off his man. Picks out the right pass. I think it's Bragg that doesn't go with him. Could he go for goal? Doesn't think so. Pulls it back, and it's a good finish.
It's a striker's finish, isn't it?
He has to let it come across his body onto his right foot. He knows that then Harwood Bellis can't get a block in. Excellent finish, great awareness.
And he's setting himself up, of course, to go back to Lisbon, where he was signed from Sporting on Tuesday. It's his 17th goal since he made that move. And of course, it's one for him in the FA Cup in his first taste of the competition this season. For Arsenal. because of course he played in England before, with Brighton and Coventry.
Part of the Coventry team that got to the semi-final. They should have won the semi-final against Manchester United.
They're going to take off Ross Stewart and Leo Cienza. But Arsenal a little bit more relaxed at 1-1. Players from the bench, of course, greater for Mikel Arteta. Here's Azaz. Cienza ahead of him. Into Stewart. Down towards Bree, but Martinelli does well. Actually, switched off. He had to really stretch to get to where he should have been, but he got there. And now the changes should be made. So we're going to see Kyle Larin, the Canadian international. He'll replace Ross Stewart, who's certainly put his imprint on this tie, but rarely plays the 90 minutes.
Good finish from him. Wasn't expecting it, but first touch was good. And just smashed it past Kepa. Decent player, Larin.
And Cienza just back from injury. He's had his moments in the match, and Sam Edozie, who had a spell with Manchester City, actually made his debut for City at Wembley in the Community Shield. He was on loan at Anderlecht last season.
Very experienced players, 88 caps for Canada.
Yeah, he's 30 years old. He's on loan from Real Mallorca. He's played in Turkey and in Belgium. And here's William Saliba, a senior centre-back compared to Mosquera. He has not been 100% fit. He pulled out of the France squad. He's had a sore ankle. Did play in the League Cup final. Gyökeres, right place, right touch, and whether it's the turning of the tide down here on the south coast, we'll see. It
was a big decision by Havertz to go away from a very good position, close to the goalkeeper, to go all the way back, the cut back, but he got it absolutely right. The weight, the timing, the angle of the pass to be perfect, and it was.
And it's not Mosquera who's going off, it's Gabriel. He's had a sore right knee. All these bulletins we've been getting out of the Arsenal Medical Centre. Again, like Saliba, he did play the whole game at Wembley a couple of weeks ago. Some assessment to do. This has been stretched here medically and by the opposition in football terms as well. It's almost a thanks for giving us 70 minutes from the coaching staff. So Saliba is on. Here's Mosquera. Martinelli. Calafiori. Of course, as we're talking about players like Gyökeres having the joy of qualifying for the World Cup, Calafiori to share the pain of all Italians. He's involved against Bosnia and they lost on the penalties. Here's Martinelli. Just one shimmy too many. And Bree was able to react. Back to Bree from Bragg.
Oh, back to Calafiori. It's a pain they should be getting used to, Italy. Third time they've missed the World Cup.
Well, the break is on here. Arsenal scurrying back. Yande. And they find a way to retake the lead here. Fellows. It's a clever ball. Goes behind off Ben White's way. His luck's been going recently. be relieved that that went outside the post.
I think fellows will be disappointed, having done all the hard work, gone past Calafiori, lofted it into the far post, that nobody was coming round the back. Aaron had made the run to the near post. Zaz hadn't kept up with the play.
Brilliant challenge of the dead ball situation again. A bit of a hush around St Mary's. And towards Kepa, who was reaching for it. Nweke able to clear. Antonelli appreciated the early ball. It wasn't the most convincing piece of goalkeeping.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's a one-handed flat. He's judging the flight of the ball.
There is a danger with keepers, of course, of giving a dog a bad name, and he's better than that. But, of course, when you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's usually going to be high profile.
I think I'm right in saying at one point he was the most expensive goalkeeper there had been when he went to Chelsea.
And he was Spain's #1. Forward by White. Icarus making that instant impact. Might well have been his first touch that he scored with. But it's here for both sides, really. As, well, Shea Charles rested, he's been a regular at Northern Ireland International, another through the Manchester City stable. And he comes on for Cam Bragg, who's put in plenty of hard yards, but was found a little bit wanting on the way. Arsenal picked their way through for the equaliser.
Yeah, probably the only time he's switched off. I think somebody else might be picking up the run of Havertz. Didn't go with the run.
Been quite a link-up between Manchester City and Southampton down the years. 33 times he's played for Northern Ireland, Shea Charles. He's only 22.
I have covered several FA Youth Cup competitions where Man City had lots of victories. Talked about Harwood Bellis before the game being one of those.
And that's part of the connection. Zuma, the goalkeeper, is out on loan now. So we've got a 15-minute game, or maybe a 45-minute game if it stays with parity.
You think that the longer the game took to finish, the more chance Arsenal have got of winning it. Southampton need at some point to get the ball into dangerous areas. Arsenal under a bit of pressure, try and win the game in this 15 minutes.
Havertz. As I mentioned earlier, it does come up with big moments in big games. Nweke takes it behind. Calafiori peeled away with a very Italian-esque gesture, arms out, as if to say, I'm making the box, why haven't you cut it back to me?
So we're going to see another change as well. Looked to be
Zubimendi,
the player that was getting his top off. Zubimendi.
Yeah, he played 13 minutes for Spain and then was sent home. That was the Friday international. So they're not exactly walking wounded, but you'll know how many games you played when you were 100% fit. You know, it's an occupational hazard. Here is the aforementioned Spaniard. He's going to replace Kai Havertz. First time these clubs ever met was in the FA Cup way back in 1927, 99 years ago by my maths. Arsenal won it 2-1. They've got a chance of winning this one 2-1 as well.
I imagine at that time Southampton were further down the
they were a league team
pyramid.
But they actually got those 2 FA Cup finals in 1992 as a non-league team. Of course, there was a small league then, so pretty much everyone was non-league, apart from the elite. Can they dig deep here into the spirit of 1976, for example? And, find a way. They played Bradford City, who I think were in the 4th tier in the quarter-final that year. It's a slightly different challenge in 2026. You're absolutely right, Stuart. If it goes longer into extra time, more chance for Arsenal to exhibit their superiority, at least perceived superiority.
Not quite the right pass for Carl Larin. They won the ball back, made the little darting run.
Mosquera got away with that mistake, allowed fellows in. Have had their chances, few and far between, but they've been good chances when they've had them. Southampton, think of Cienza early in the tie. Norgard. Zubimendi.
Norgard is going a lot deeper at the moment. Almost playing in between 2 centre halves.
And Calafiori's doing what Lewis Skelly did and going into midfield. But then he's a little bit out of position if they can switch it onto this side, but they can't. And Southampton put a lot of work in off the ball, and they're paying a bit of a price for it now. There's a weary look. Fellows in particular were struggling just to get back there. He's in position now. Azaz as well has covered a lot of ground without too many touches of the ball. Calafiori. Wasn't much on for White. Would have thought Madueke would have realised that and made a bit more of a positive run. He's on the ball here. Certainly positive when he gets the ball. Back with Arsenal again. Mosquera. Southampton are just a bit of drawing breath, maybe biding their time. Just one chance, they'd be thinking, give us one real chance, and we're into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. We're off to Wembley to join Manchester City and Chelsea in either West Ham or Leeds. Martinelli can't quite get through. Decent ball down the line to Charles. Fellows goes beyond him. Arsenal just lethargic themselves in getting back. Greater numbers now. Dowman's filled in. Madueke behind the ball.
Disappointing for the crowd. They went all the way back and then Wood turned away from the next forward pass.
Alba Bellis. It's finding the mental concentration as well as the physical energy to make this a happy ending inside 90 minutes for the Saints.
The problem for Southampton is that 2 of their key players don't usually last the 90 minutes or coming back from injury. So Cienza played really well at times. Same with Stewart, both off the field now.
Madueke. Dowman. That's a great stop. He had a good view of it, but was struck. It was aimed to be that bender inside the far post from the 16-year-old.
It's the shot that all left footers want to take. Coming inside, trying to wrap their foot round it, bend it in to that far post area. It doesn't quite stud it wide enough, does he? It's a good save, but a comfortable one, I would say. for Perez.
Well, is it now time for Arsenal to produce an example of their set-piece work? It wouldn't be the biggest surprise, but Gabriel's not there as the major organiser. Declan Rice often takes them, of course, from this side as well. One of the missing stars. And they're just not going to float it in to Howard Bellis and Wood. Madueke. Oh, Martinelli can hit it. And by his standards, he's been scoring goals in the cup competitions. It's a decent chance, very little pressure, and he's dragged it wide.
Well worked by Arsenal. He's trying to go in at the near post. I think the goalkeeper had it covered. As we said, he didn't quite hit it where he wanted to. He just pulled it inside that near post.
Arsenal have won 14 of their last 16 quarter-finals, losing to Manchester United in 2011 and Watford in 2016. Very good record against teams from lower divisions. Here's Fellows though. Charles places it in the corner and Southampton lead with only 5 minutes plus on the clock. Shea Charles from the bench, Southampton back in front.
Oh, what a good goal this is from Southampton. The combination play, it was all set up by Carl Larin to start with. Good centre-forward play, set it up. The movement was good, the passing was good, they got players running into the box, and the finish from Charles just kept his composure. There's Larin setting it up. Next ball played forward. Does really well, does Fellows. What a good finish. I think Larin is interfering with Kepa, so shouldn't be offside. Surely can't disallow this one. Is he in offside position? Was he in the way of the goalkeeper's view? I'm not sure he was. I think this has to count.
It will be checked. Well, they think it counts. Of course, there's no VAR in the Championship. Every time the ball goes in the net, it is a goal. Is it King Charles here for Southampton?
Joy in the ecstasy one end, despair the other.
Yeah. VAR check complete. I think had it gone the other side of Kepa, then Larin might have been the factor. Was that it went away from him into the opposite corner. Kepa had a good look at it, couldn't reach it. So Arsenal got to dig deep again. Here's Norgard. White. Dowman. Madueke. Still going but forced backwards, but finds a pass to Calafiori. Finds a good cross, headed on by Zubimendi. Only partially away by Edozie and Charles. Larin's headed it back to Arsenal. That wasn't the plan. Martinelli. Gyökeres. Martinelli could have shot, chose not to. Zubimendi trying to work a goal here, Arsenal. Keeping patience. And time is ticking away. Martinelli slows it down. Wins a corner. Doesn't win a corner. It's a big contribution from Bree.
He got a bit square on as well. He knew that Martinelli was going to sweep it down the line. Good defending, Bree. Massive moments here.
And by Martinelli, goalkeeper's ball comfortably. No one trying to get across in front of that near post in red and white.
And every one of these supporters will be looking at that board when it goes up. How many added on minutes is the referee going to play? I would still say to Southampton, you've got to keep passing it forward. This is when you start to look vulnerable, when you start playing it around the back and invite Arsenal onto you.
Manning goes long.
That's the right idea. Now Larin has to put a bit of pressure on Saliba.
I don't know if you noticed, Stuart, at the end of the Manchester City-Liverpool game, there were no added minutes at all on the end of the second half. And there was a sympathy vote from the referee, but we're going to get some here, that's for sure. Is it enough for Arsenal to take it to extra time? Dowman fouled the booking for Leander, and a free kick for Arsenal in a threatening position.
There's that strength you were talking about again from Dowman. Just holds off the one challenge.
How is he so strong? Well, it's skill we accept. I mean, Yamal has got a bit of that strength about him as well. You talked about him earlier. And it's a fair comparison, although Yamal's older and done more, of course. But Dowman's heading in that direction. Mightily impressive in the difficult circumstances here. He's not panicking. Gyökeres, the man of the moment, as far as Swedish football is concerned, and maybe as far as the Gunners' football is concerned. You don't need 4 over the ball in these circumstances. Peretz in the firing line.
He's had a good game, Peretz. He's done everything asked of him. Had no chance with the goal. He's made some good saves. He's caught balls that are coming to the box. Probably have to make at least one save before the end of the game here.
This might be it. It's a fair way out. It's about on the edge, we say, of the shooting distance.
6 added on minutes.
Gyökeres into the wall. 31,067 attendance has been announced. The majority here. You get a good away percentage compared to league games. Arsenal are not underrepresented.
Well, that sums up Ben White's performance today. Put himself in a bit of a muddle. Sent it back to the goalkeeper, who just kicked it out of play. He had a good game, didn't he?
Could have had a penalty, hit the bar with a fantastic effort, cutting in on his right foot. And, got clear, but was caught up by Mosquera just at the key moment. And here comes Southampton again. As you say, Stuart, attack is the best form of defence, really, in these circumstances. Tom Fellows against Calafiori. Still going. And, it comes out to Gyökeres, and Martinelli is away. He's one-on-one with Wood. There's a bit of cover arriving, but he tries to place it. Two defenders clasped hands together, but they were lucky that Martinelli didn't make more of this.
Well, Wood slows him down. He was thinking about trying to sweep it into the space.
It was Bree, the other player, wasn't it?
And he wasn't happy that they gave the ball away higher up the field.
And he wasn't happy, the fan, that Arsenal didn't make more of the chance. But there's another one looming here from Madueke. Still a bit early for the salutes.
Still 4 added on minutes. This was a bit too easy for Madueke to get the ball out wide, come inside on his left foot. He makes a bit of a mess of it.
That is his picture postcard moment, isn't it? Coming at pace from the right onto the left.
From a Southampton point of view, he's got to kick it down one side of the field. They've got a challenge for the first ball without fouling. They've got to have players round the knockdown, and if it drops into them, play again into the space in behind. Make Arsenal defend in their own third.
The clock ticks on slowly for those Southampton supporters, and very quickly from the Arsenal perspective. 2 time zones in these circumstances. Larin, and it breaks the way of Zubimendi. And again, Dowman is off and running. He's not giving up on it. Oh, hang on a minute. Can't be doing that. Martinelli pushed Sam Barrett, the referee.
It's madness from Martinelli.
We have seen 1 or 2 moments of that. With the Conor Bradley episode, he tried to lift him off the pitch against Liverpool. he thought he was pushing a team there out of the way. I don't believe he did.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He has got a moment of madness in him every so often, particularly when they're not doing well.
So he is in charge of this free kick. He goes short, wants it back again, but it goes into Zubimendi. Still trying to pick the lock, really, rather than force it open. Comes out to Calafiori. No great moment late on for an Italian this week.
And that's about the best place it could go for Southampton players and supporters, high and wide. It will take a bit of time coming back into the pitch from the crowd. They are not far away here, and they know it. Still, can they keep the ball in Arsenal's half from this goal kick?
90 seconds.
Is Arsenal's season starting to crumble? That's what people will be asking after this.
On the verge of going out of a second competition in consecutive matches. Larin. Fellows. What's he going to do? He's still going to go for goal rather than for the corner. Well, they get a corner, so they can play it short in there.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Fellows. That was the place to go, down the outside. You can always get a corner. Calafiori has to make a tackle. He comes inside, he just opens it up to be have the ball taken off of him.
Waiting to come on is Joshua Kwashi. He's a German under-21 international, another of the newcomers this season. Surely they're not going to put the ball in the box where Kepa can catch it and start a counter-attack.
Get their biggest player out there, Larin, who's going to stand on the ball and try and win another corner maybe. They haven't done it particularly well.
They haven't done it well at all because it's a goal kick. One more attack. This is football. It's never over till it's over, Stuart. And the 6 minutes are up. Chase on for Gyökeres. Wood trying to see it out here, and that's as big a cheer as you're going to get today, except for the final whistle.
Brilliant from Wood. Saw the run of Gyökeres. You have to be strong when you're playing against the Swedish international. He does like running those channels. But what a day, what a night it's been for these Southampton supporters. Surely that's it now.
They're on the verge. Time for the substitutions. Ryan Manning, he won't play in the semi-final. He doesn't really want to come on, I don't think. He's telling Kwasi in no uncertain terms to kick it into the other half of the pitch. Calling for the final whistle. Martinelli. A bit of panic here. And Southampton could have cleared it. Gyökeres needs to go into the box straight away. It's over. Southampton, the Saints go marching into the FA Cup semi-final.